Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is Mark Drews, and I have the honor of serving as supporter of today's service. On those Sundays when Stephen is not in the pulpit, we offer opportunities to hear from interesting speakers from the wider community as well as from our congregation. This summer we have been very fortunate to have heard from folks like Nathan Woodcliff Stanley, Neil Jones, both wonderful UU ministers, as well as members of our own congregation, including Deb, Linda, and Pat, who shared service on what they brought back from the GA meeting this summer, as well as Michael Sullivan, and last week we heard from Linda McLeod. Just an example of the wonderful talent that we have here in our congregation. For those of you who are with us here in the sanctuary, we are streaming live and will be on YouTube. And for those of you who are on the other end of the cyberspace, please know we really welcome you here, but appreciate you being with us. Please make sure you read all information printed in the order of service, plenty of information of upcoming events and activities, as well as the weekly events that are shared with you every Thursday. We also encourage you to visit our website, where there's a whole host of information about the many offerings and opportunities that are made available to our members and friends. Particular of interest would be some of the information that Pat, Linda, and Deb gleaned from the GA meeting, and information and resources that are available there. And I'll use this as an opportunity to say how, for those who didn't know, during this past General Assembly meeting, our UU brothers and sisters across the country elected Sophia Benecourt as its 10th president of the UUA. And to learn more about her, please visit the UUA.org. As far as an announcement for our families, please know that we welcome all of you to be with us. And today, we're very excited to know that we have volunteers available to support you if there's anything you need. We also have in the back toys, games, activities to go ahead and keep your children occupied during the service. Today's flowers you see are provided by Linda Brennison in memory of Dillard Thompson, who died 3 years ago today, but his memory stays within all of us. In a moment, I'd like you to go ahead and make sure you silence all your electronic devices so we can go ahead and focus on our service. Do want to go ahead and share another announcement that soon be on the lookout for information about a Matthew Ganung series of piano concerts that we're going to go ahead and try to make available for our members and community at large. Before we go to our next session on the Prelude, where we're going to be hearing Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young's Teach Your Children, I'd like a special announcement from Richard McLeod, who is stepping in for a dear colleague of ours who is out for a while. Stephen?
Thank you, Mark. I have the privilege of announcing the following. Some of you already know this. Anna Hamilton and Lindbergh Bing Carmichael welcomed a baby boy on Friday, August the 4th at 6:06 p.m. His name is Lyndon Noor Bing Hamilton. He weighed in at 8 pounds, 10 ounces, and was 21 inches in length. Anna, if you're watching, here's our response.
Thank you, Richard. And if we would sit back and enjoy a flash of the past.
Who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so be become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well, their father's hell did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. So please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the one they picked, the one you know by. Don't you ever ask them why, if they told you you would cry, so just look at them and sigh. And know they love you.
Thank you, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. If you would, please stand and join me as we share the congregational covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. Please be seated. I'd like to ask Louisa White to please come to the podium and bring us welcome.
Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people, regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We have been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association, UUA, a welcoming congregation that welcomes LGBTQ+ individuals. Now, let's recognize the members of our Board of Trustees. Board members, please stand. Committee chairs, please. Oh, notice they were green name tags. Committee chairs, please stand and join them. All of these folks welcome your comments and suggestions for the betterment of our community. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. So visitors, if you're willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from, or if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them. Please wait for the microphone.
Good morning, all. My name is Duncan. I was here last week, and I have come back this week with my wife and son, Connor, and Mariana, my wife. I told them the air conditioning is good. That's enough. That's enough in itself. The chairs are comfortable, and the people are wonderful and welcoming.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Good morning. I'm Rowena Nyland, and I live in the neighborhood. I'm a Presbyterian, but I'll second that it's always very welcoming to come here, and I thank you for your congregation.
Hey there, my name is Al Fair. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and it's good to be here.
Hello, I'm Jason Clark. I'm here with my spouse of 33 years, Robert Cohn. And these are our sons.
Ethan Hodge.
And Adrian Hodge.
I'm the smart one, he's the dumb one.
Ethan is 13, Adrian is 15, and they have been with us for the past 3.5 years, and in March we adopted them. So. We have lived in Columbia for the past 18 years, and this is our first time here.
Hello, I'm Lydia. I'm here with my mother, Miriam, who is visiting us from Ecuador.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cameron, and I'm here with my mom, and this is the second time I've been here. And I just wanted to say, these are some lovely people that are here with us right now.
Visitors, you certainly don't have to, but we'd love to have you fill out a visitor card and put it all in the collection plate. You'll find one on the back of the chair in front of you. That way we can send you our newsletter and emails. We will respect your privacy. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so we can get to know each other better. At this time, let us take a moment to greet each other. Turn around and offer a pleasant greeting with a handshake or fist bump and a big smile.
You did good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Today, thank you. Thank you. Our chalice slider is...
You have to grumble, you have to say.
Today our our chalice slider is...
Oh, wait. Look. Mark says we can do this too. Pick that up. Now go. Thank you.
Thank you. Today our chalice slider is Jonathan White. He works as the ESL consultant for Richland One, as well as dedicating himself to several activities outside of his career, such as Boy Scouts and soccer. He has a son and a daughter, me, along with his wife Megan and our dog Olive. Jonathan gives so much to our community, both within this church and without, as a CYRME committee chair. Spirit of light and life, come on to us.
Of all that I've done here, I've never done these things, so you'll have to bear with me. And I've been told that I'm not good at standing close to the microphone. All right. So, for our reading today, I've chosen a spot where someone lost my place. Hold on, children, there we are. This is On the Kusawati, Part 1, by Canoe Through the Fir Forest by James Dickey. Into the slain tons of needles on something like time and dark knowledge that cannot be told, we are riding over white stones forward through fir trees to follow whatever the river through the clasping of roots follows deeply. As we go inward, more trunks climb from the edge of the water and turn on the banks and stand growing. The nerves in the patches of tree light on the ripples can feel no death but shake like the wings of angels. With light hard pressed to keep up, though it is in place on each feather, heavy woods in one movement around us flow back along either side, bringing in more essential curves. Small stones in their thousands turn corners. Underwater and bear us on through the glittering, surfacing wing beats cast from above. As we pass over, as we pass through each hover of gold, we lift up our blades from the water and the blades of our shoulders, our rowing muscles, our wings are still and tremble, undying, drifting deeper into the forest. Each light comes into our life, past the man in front's changed hair, then along the wing balancing floor, and then on to me and one eye and into my mouth for an instant. The stones beneath us grow rounder as I taste the fretted light fall through living needles to be here like a word I can feed on forever, or believe like a vision I have, or want to conceive out of greenness. While the world fades, it is becoming. As the trees shut away all seeing, in my mouth I mix it with sunlight. Here in the dark, it is being. Okay, so deep poetry, and now I get to tell you a story. So if kids would come up, is this the way we're going to transition this? Like children, are there any kids who would like to come up and let me tell them a story? Let me go over to this microphone. See if does that work too? All right. Again, this is where I get bad at keeping this thing at the right distance. All right. Hello, beautiful people. Two of them are mine. What's up, Lucille? Cam, I totally remember you from the last time you were here, and I'm glad you're back. I want to tell you a story. I'm going to tell everybody a story today. It's not really a story, so you have to bear with me. Luis already told me that's not really a story when I told her what I wanted to say. But later, I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to talk about what, and don't give me a weird look, because I'm going to talk about what children need from these people out here. And I don't know if I can pretend what children need. So I thought I'd start off at least a little bit and just ask you can you tell us what you need? If somebody asks you, what do you need? What would you say you need? All right, I'm afraid of what my son's gonna say. Let's see.
Saturday.
Saturday. Anybody else got what you need?
Never mind.
Think, come on. No? All right, Cam.
I'll say care.
Care, I like that one. All right, you're being deep. That's good. Thank you. Did my poem inspire you to be deep, to think deeply?
Love.
Love. Still waiting for somebody to say food.
Food.
Were you really gonna say food? Yes. See, that's right. Hit me. That is what I was wondering, if anybody would say food. All right. So, talking about needs today. Usually, now I remember when I was a kid, every time we talk about needs, there were adults who wanted to also talk about wants and point out the difference between needs and wants. Does that sound familiar? Do you have this conversation with people a lot? Right? Okay. So, let me see, where are we? Needs and wants, right? Sometimes needs and wants go hand in hand. Can you think of something that you want that's different from what, oh, now she's ready. All right, what do you want?
I want fancy shoes.
Fancy shoes, all right, yes. Her shoes look pretty nice right now. Anybody else? What do you want? What do you want?
I want fire. I like fire.
Deep, yeah, all right, fire. No, Cal, I have a 9-year-old too. Fire, yeah, fire makes sense.
I stick with what I said before. I think children both want and need love.
There you go, all right. Cal, you got something? What do you want? Well, we had a conversation yesterday. What was it you said that you wanted? Oh, yeah. He said he wanted a watch. We were talking about this in the car. Because look, you talk about needs and wants a lot, right? Like with your children.
Attention.
Look, on that note, more hands go up. So, all right.
I want the electricity.
All right. Electricity sometimes is something we need too, maybe. Yes?
Let me think.
Why? Your time is up. No more thinking. I need your help now with the second part of my story, okay? Because the second part of my story really involves what I'm going to talk about later, and that is these people out here. And remember I made that comment like, who am I to know anything about what children want? But I'll share a secret with you. Everybody here knows something of what children want and need because, surprise, surprise, everybody here at some point was in fact a child, right? Mind-blowing. And so I'm gonna ask them to think a little bit about what children need, and I'm pretty sure they're good at doing that. But I need your help with the second part of what Louisa says is not really a story. And that is, I'm gonna invite 2 mystery people from here to come up and tell us about what children need and want. But okay, so it's gonna be secret. I'm gonna tell you how we're gonna figure out who these 2 people are, and it could be any one of you, okay? But the key is that a lot of the folks there, not only were they children, but they also are very well practiced at what children need and want, because a lot of the people out there are parents, right? And I already see Lucille is going, get my mom to come up here, right? But I don't think your mom qualifies for one of my mystery people, because I want 2 specific parents to come and talk today to help me out, and I need your help because they might be nervous. I have not told them that they are gonna help, that they're not gonna have to say, I haven't told them they have to say something. So I need you to encourage them, all right? You think you can encourage parents for me? All right, so there are 2 people out here that are superlative, that are at the top of the parenting ladder for us, and we're gonna bring them both up here if you're willing and able. And if you're upset with me for putting you on the spot, you can always choose a proxy to come in your place, okay? But I would like to talk to the parent here. My first parent that I would love to talk to is the parent here who has the youngest child. So Cal is 9 years old, and I'm pretty sure I have parents here with kids who are younger than 9. So if you have a kid who's younger than 9, would you stand up for me, please? Any parent of a child younger than 9, stand up. All right, just 2. Good. We narrowed it down, right? Your youngest child is 4. Your youngest child is? About to be 2. She wins. Everybody, and this is Amelia. I know Amelia, and I actually warned her a little bit about this. Can we give Amelia a round of applause? She's going to help us. All right. Now, for my second person. Not your mom. Because this person is super special. Now, I already said, so now we have the parent of the youngest child here. So now I'm really curious if we can't find the parent of the oldest child. And so let's see if we can do it like this. So I mentioned that I was a child at one point. So I have parents. They're not here. The key is the parent has to be here. The child doesn't have to be here. I am 43. So we'll start there. If you have a child who is older than 43, please stand up or raise your hand. All right, there's a number of folks here. Now we got to figure out the oldest child there. So should I go up? What's the next number I should go up to? What? 50? 50. If you have a child who is older than 50, stay standing. All right. 60? Should I go 60? If you have a child who is older than 60, wait. No, I still got people. I have a young man standing there. You have a child who is older than 60. Yes, sir? Just 60. Can I convince you to come up here and I'll ask you a question? Would it be all right? Or should I come to you? Oh, wrong answers are good. Sir, I don't want to spoil it, but I do plan on finishing my talk today with an English poet, who is very cynical. Oh no, I've got a good cynical one. But all right, so sir, may I ask your name?
John.
And John, tell us about your child, who we're thinking about.
I have my eldest child is 60, and I have another boy and a girl.
And what is your eldest child's name?
Keith.
Keith is 60. All right. And again, this is Amelia. Amelia, tell us about your child. You're the youngest child, the parent with the youngest child.
My son's name is Leo John, and and he's in the nursery right now, and he's about to be 2 on August 31st.
So, what I would like your help with is thinking about what children want and need. And my guess is that your child, John, has very different wants and needs from her child, Leo. Can I say that with certainty? Do you believe that's true? Do y'all believe that that's true? So here's what I'd like to do. Would you mind telling us what your children need? We'll start with Amelia.
Okay. Like you guys said, love and attention is the biggest thing right now. He just wants me to give him his complete undivided attention and play with him and focus on him. That would be the main thing, is love and attention.
John, would you mind?
Well, my child has his own family and is involved with, he has 2 children. While I'm up here, I would like to say something about when I was a father. And I made a mistake because I spent too much time working, and I did not spend enough time with my children. My wife was at home, and she was looking after it, and I could afford to keep her at home. And I missed out that, and I only realized that too late when they were too big. Now, I think that might be something that's worthwhile repeating, so that people who are working too hard and too long to support the family must do better than I did. And that would be my message about children growing up.
Thank you very much. This is, we may ask one more thing, and this is especially for maybe for both of you, actually. I don't want to say especially, but wants and needs change, right? And we talked about Leo 2.5, or about to be 2. And I mentioned that they have different needs.
do his needs and wants change at 2 years? Do y'all think that his needs and wants have changed a little bit over the last 2 years? Can you tell us? Have they?
I think, sure, like if he was a baby, like being a little baby, he wanted mainly food and cuddles and naps. And now those are still there, but more so he wants, you know, his mom and dad to be like doing what he's doing, playing with him, taking him out to the park. He likes toys. Like he's starting to develop that personality. So yeah, I think it's expanded and there are some new things added on there for sure.
And John, would you mind speaking to the changes in the needs of your son over the last 60 years?
60 years, so he has
telling these kids, so I'm interested.
he has lived a long time, and the older he's get, you know, he's going through school and his groups of friends, and he needs he will need friends when you're growing up, and groups and people you can talk to. And in fact, I took him to church every Sunday. Whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, now people argue, but I enjoyed church, and I brought my people to church, and I sang in the choir and all that, which is part of a community, and people, so that children are happy growing up where they are with the people they know and are at school with, and have parties together and all that while they're young. I think that is a remarkable thing for children to grow up and know people in the area and have a good time while they're growing up. That's about my summary.
And the service is over. I'm done. He just said exactly what we needed to hear. So thank you. All right, y'all, can y'all help these folks? Thank you. We'll clap them back to their seats. And y'all, that's my story of all ages. You're not going to be sung out. Y'all sit down and let's do some more talking. I think what was the point that I wanted to make here? I think everyone here can contribute to the conversation about the wants and needs of our children within this congregation, right?
It's time for our opening hymn. I think you'll recognize this one. So if you'll stand and turn in your hymnal to number 118. You probably heard this one. You may have grown up in a different church or this church. The words are a little bit different and the rhythm's a little bit different, but this little light of mine,
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you all. We've now come to a part of our service we refer to as Candles Community. If you have a significant personal joy, sorrow, or concern that you would like to share from the pulpit, please let us know. Let Reverend Stephen know by Friday at noon. Especially important for our friends in cyberspace to please go ahead and let us know if you have joys or concerns that you would like to go ahead and share. Here we have a set of 7 candles in which we ask to pick up on the way in if you have that joy or concern that you would like to share publicly. I also want to remind you that we have a caring committee, and a few weeks ago we had the caring committee up here, but the personal opportunity, if you would the caring committee please stand at this time so we can just go ahead and use this quick moment to go ahead and let our congregation know that if you have concerns, please reach out to any of these members, and thank you all for your great service to our congregation. At this time, like any of you who picked up a candle on the way in, if you would come forward and share your joy or concern.
I'll light a candle of gratitude and joy. This Wednesday morning, I went into Baptist Park Ridge Hospital and had an operation on my back. Two of the vertebrae in my back were impinging on the nerve and giving me very, very uncomfortable pain. And a very nice surgeon removed those and removed that pain. And I woke up the next morning in the hospital thinking, oh my, this is just wonderful. And then a little while later, my body told me, you have some recovery to do. And so that's what I'm doing. But I am so grateful to people for their kindness and compassion. My wonderful wife has been willing to put up with me, which is a no, not always been easy. And I have so many wonderful friends in the world, including you. And that has meant so much to me over the years. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Hi, I'm Deb Matherly, and thanks, Richard, for giving the details about Anna's new baby. I just wanted to add a couple of things. First, that they expect to be home Monday. And I'd like to say, Anna and Lindbergh, we are so very happy for you, and baby Lyndall, welcome. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
I worked up my courage to do all this talking today, and I don't normally do this, so I feel like I better capitalize on the worked up courage and do it. I have a candle of concern and joy that relates to this busy, busy week that I've just had, not just planning this, but my daughter said that I am that I work for the local school district, and one of the things that I primarily do is ensure that our families who have a language other than English at home receive equal access to education. I spent a lot of this week helping more than a dozen new immigrants to our community and our schools register their children for school. The other thing that I do with the district is train teachers. And we welcomed our new teachers to the district this week in over 3 days of training. And I managed to train talk with one teacher, phenomenal, inspiring woman. But my program has 2 unfilled positions right now, and they probably will not be filled this year. Those are 2 people that I should have been training this week that are not there. They don't exist. The teacher shortage is very real. And it is not us who will feel it. It is our most vulnerable children who feel the teacher shortage. That's my concern, and my joy is, I don't know what order to put these in, but I'm gonna finish with my joy, and that is that this young lady turned 12 on Friday, and we've had a great birthday week. And this week is always a cool birthday week for us because her mother also had a birthday on Monday. So this is our big birthday week.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Jonathan, and happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Good morning. My name is Tom Clements, and I've been away for 4 weeks, and I want to share a joy about my trip and then a concern. I'm going to dedicate this joy to John Logue, botany professor. I went out to Nevada and hiked up to 10,000 feet and saw, some of you may know this, bristlecone pine, the oldest tree in the world. It was fantastic being in a grove of these gnarly old trees that can live 5,000 years, and they can stand there dead 2,000 years. And I saw some young ones. It really boggles the mind to think they could be here in 7,000 years. But if you're ever out at Great Basin National Park, I'd say go for it. And the other thing I want to say is more of a concern or a sorrow. Today is the 78th anniversary of the bombing, U.S. bombing of Hiroshima. And then Nagasaki a few days later. There's a commemorative event, and there's some flyers scattered about at 1 o'clock today if you're able to get there. But as we look backwards in commemorating that, we also need to look forward. Right here at Savannah River site, they're building a new nuclear bomb factory to make the plutonium cores into new nuclear weapons and old nuclear weapons. So as we honor the people who died at Hiroshima and all the circumstances around it, let's think about we need to prevent this new nuclear arms race that's developing right now and threatening the whole world. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Hello, I'm Pat Moore, and I have a candle of joy I would like to share this morning, very briefly. And that is that as part of the beloved community, after the service, please go over to Jason and Jim, please stand, and wish them a happy 3rd anniversary.
Thank you, Pat.
Hey, I'm Bethany, and this is another candle for Anna Lindbergh and Lyndon. I'm just so excited that they decided to have a baby right when we were having a program about children. How convenient for us. But birth is challenging, and I don't know if they have a lot of family to support them. So let's remember them over the next month or two. Call them if you have their phone number. See if they need some food, some help as they transition into their new lives together. And I have a picture of the new baby if anybody wants to see it.
Thank you, Bethany. And as always, we light one final candle for those joys and concerns that remain silent in our heart. And as I light it, please let's take a moment to ponder these joys and concerns, and let us pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. This time, we've come to a time where we have an opportunity to share our abundance. This congregation contributes to Share the Plate, where half of our cash collection each week goes to a local charity. It's a way for us to give back to our community. This week's and this month's recipient is Palmetto Place Children Youth Services. I'd like to go ahead and welcome Laird Weaver to the podium to go ahead and share a few words about Palmetto Place.
It's okay. Hi, y'all. Thank you for having me. Good morning. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your generosity to our organization. It really does mean a lot. I am the new development manager for Palmetto Place. So I used to work with Courtney, as you all probably know. She's amazing. Coming in her footsteps, filling some very big shoes, but we are just so honored that you guys think of us. We are the homeless shelter, the group home in Columbia. We have 2 locations, one in West Columbia and one off of Colonial Drive. And we step in, it was really interesting to listen to y'all talking about children's wants and needs today, because a lot of the children that live with us lack a lot of those things, and they don't have the community support to receive those needs and get those wants, that attention, that love. And so we have the opportunity to step in and support them with the community's help. We help children ages 16 to 21, anything they're going through. A lot of them come from very difficult backgrounds, a lot of traumatic situations, and we're able to step in and support them. We house them. We've got a shelter that's got about 20 beds right now. We have 2 shelters, one has 20 beds, one has 6, and we help them through school. We help them get a job. We help them learn how to clean the bathroom and change a light bulb and things that your parents have probably done for you. And children here, your parents, that they are loving on you and doing that as well. And we have the great opportunity to be able to do that for these kids. And it really is an incredible thing that we get to do. And I just I'll keep it short. I'm a talker, but I'm trying to keep it short. But we have a really great program. If you'd ever like to come out and volunteer, meet the kids, see the shelter, please let me know. And we would love to have you. We do a lot of fun events. We actually have a 5K coming up to help support the kids. So if you'd like to walk, run, race, bring your dog, your kids, we'd love to have you. And that's in September. But again, thank you all so much. And, any small support that you guys give, whatever it is, big or small, it has a very large impact on these kids. So we're really thankful for everything you guys do. And we really appreciate everything that y'all have done. And this seems like a really great congregation. So thank you for having me. And if you have any questions, I'll be out there at the end of the service, and I would love to chat with you. But thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Laird, and you did do a fine job wrapping that up. We are a great congregation. If you are contributing by check, please include the words "share the plate" in the memo line. We also, if not now, please take advantage of our online system, encouraging our folks online to go ahead and visit our website at uucolumbia.org, where you can make a donation at that time. This time, I'd like the ushers to please come forward for this morning's offering.
Not like this.
This represents our community as a loving, giving, and contributing organization.
Is this you? All right, where am I? Considering the needs of families with children and youth in a church community, who are we and what do we need? I don't have any great advice about the fact that our congregation has such a small children and youth program, or that Sunday school seems to be an untenable concept these days. I believe that the complexity of this is going to rely on your help. And the one thing I can do is ground that call for help in a better understanding of who we, families with children, who we are. So I feel like asking you to help me depends on allowing you to get to know me and my family. So to start with that, I want you to, we'll start with a date, and I'm going to start with this date, June 30th, 2007. The first thing I have to say about this date revolves around the month and the day. June 30th is the day that my wife and I made a sort of small mistake in choosing for our wedding. I say it's small just because this is a day that's really hard to celebrate as an anniversary. It's 4 days before a major U.S. holiday, when my family typically is like big family, right? Parents, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles. Everybody's usually camping in North Carolina woods somewhere. And so usually June 30th is a day of packing, driving, putting up a tent. And I want to talk about June 30th this year. This will be the beginning of what I have to say, because June 30th of this year was just that. We were driving to start a 3-week vacation that was going to be this great vacation. And I want to tell you about it, not only because of how well it illustrates who my family is and what the UUCC does for us, but because it was just a few days after June 30th, on July 5th, Today's August 6th. So on July 5th, I got a text from the worship committee asking if I would speak to you today, right at the beginning of my 3-week vacation. Let me see. So, okay, picture this, right? Picture my minivan and my family in this minivan loaded with everything we were gonna need to survive for the next 15 days. 2 kids in the middle seats, crammed in with luggage, snacks, blankets, pillows, more stuffed animals than people actually need to take on vacation, but lots of stuffed animals, a guitar, and in fact, somewhere in this pile was definitely the equivalent of a kitchen sink, right? And this time, so what I want you to imagine is this time, my wife is driving, we're going down the Blue Ridge Parkway, one of these guys is feeling queasy, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do, whether we're gonna stop, and I'm texting, sure, sounds good, August 6th, happy to help, but I need your help. And then I get to spend the next 15 days driving all the way to the farthest northeastern corner of the US, up to the easternmost point in Maine, and thinking about this issue and this problem. And I'd like to share with you 4 things that struck with me on my drive, okay? The first is the song that I just played for you, Do the Next Right Thing from Frozen 2. In which the normally peppy optimist, Princess Anna of Arendelle, sings herself back onto her feet in a moment when she's lost everything and all of what normally keeps her optimistic in life. So I ask a rhetorical question. Are you familiar with what 7, 9, 10, 11-year-olds consider entertainment these days? Right? It's a good song. Fire. About 15% of our driving on these road trips is usually devoted to Disney tunes or musicals like this. This is usually what Louisa begs for after putting up with mom and dad music or sitcoms from her brother on the iPad right beside her, blaring loudly. This song, though, is one that I really love because aside from illustrating a particular interest of some children, and I did see some children singing along to this song, it represents one way that our children are exposed to big ideas in their lives. In this instance, it's a fantastic message that I happen to appreciate and I use often with my kids. Do the next right thing. It illustrates a powerful way to think about tough problems, a problem kind of like we face, growing out our congregation to better serve children, youth, and their families. I've also read that do the next right thing is grounded in a mantra offered by mental health professionals. So mental health is something central to what I want to talk about, but I'll come back to that. I want to share 2 more things that happened on my vacation. 2 other moments from this trip relevant to this topic came in Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, for my UUs. We stopped for a night between 2 places Louisa wanted to see. And the first was Salem, Massachusetts, famous for the year 1692, when a handful of teenage girls, driven by desperate lives, lived at the bottom of a social pyramid and dangerous religious superstition claimed to be tortured by witches and their powerful fathers, used that pervading superstition to justify the murder of more than a dozen men and women. On an evening walk there, I reflected on the ways we empower our children and the beliefs they carry these days. The next day, I'm gonna try not to cry. So, we went to Concord, Massachusetts, and visited the home of Louisa May Alcott. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I teared up when I walked through the rooms lived in by our Unitarian heroes. Bronson Alcott, who as an education reformer was one of the first to advocate that we let children play. I mean, this man probably literally invented recess. He also advocated that we challenge children to reflect on their own life experiences as part of their education. Bronson's wife, Abigail May Alcott, or Marmee, if you know her daughter's books, was a staunch social justice advocate, abolitionist, and one of the first paid social workers in the United States. One of my favorite things in this house were the walls covered with paintings of their youngest child, the youngest Alcott sister, May, an accomplished painter. When she lacked resources for her art as a child, she would paint the doors and the walls and the mantels and the other side of cutting boards. The house in Concord stands as a testament to the grand hero of them all, Louisa May Alcott. It is there for people like my daughter, one of millions of fans of Little Women, who have embraced the powerful idea that children should be able to grow up to be not just who they want to be, but who they have always known that they are, deep down inside. This is our CYRE legacy. And it stands in stark contrast to Puritan Massachusetts of 1692 and other more recent periods in American history. Before I get to the final event of the trip that struck me as relevant to this talk, I ask that you go back with me to the year of my date, June 30th, 2007. In 2007, Meg and I chose to get married so close to this family celebration, really because we didn't have much choice. Shortly after June 30th, we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, not too far from the Coosawattee River, where James Dickey sets his poem, which I chose because at that time in my life, I was nothing more than a lazy, laid-back transcendentalist who looked at life as if we were on a canoe, just going where the river took us. But that summer, after we moved to Atlanta as a newly married couple and Meg started graduate school studying public health, I was overtaken by a different way of thinking about life that involved being very conscious of the decisions we were making to be healthy, grounded, and positive adults, productive adults. I'm grateful that my wife wasn't so naive or willing to just float along with me. We were making a lot of important decisions about how we would live our lives at that time, and one of those decisions was to begin attending the UU Church there in Atlanta. At this time, it was important for Meg for spiritual reasons, and I believe that it had a lot to do with what we need to be healthy. When Louisa was born in 2011, we were prepared to accept that being in that community was important for her as well. And then in 2014, when Cal came along, we hightailed it out of lonely Atlanta, back closer to my family and here with you, where a strong call to volunteer to work with children was one of the first things I as a stay-at-home former school teacher dad, would hear. In the years since, I have been involved in the CYRE program. The same year that we shifted RE from meaning religious education to being religious exploration, I started working with high schoolers in this congregation, and I believe that they proved to be very meaningful mentors to me. At the time, I remember spending a lot of time talking about what a religious exploration curriculum would look like when more than one of the parents with teens essentially said to me, "Curriculum? I don't care about curriculum. I just want my kids to be happy here." So I spent 4 years trying to make these teenagers feel accepted, happy, comfortable. And I began to look at my time with them as therapy for us all. It was then that I became convinced of the mental health impact our community has on young people. In short, we are a central component in their development, and I think it has a lot to do with what you offer that we don't find everywhere. Caring adults who aren't a child's family, who aren't their friends' parents, who aren't coaches, and who aren't teachers. Where else do you find those people? Where else do children find those people? This is a whole nother layer of role model that we offer, that you offer. So the last story from my vacation comes at West Quoddy Head Lighthouse, the easternmost point of the United States, which I only visited because I stood one Sunday a few months ago in our social hall explaining to someone my summer plan to see Acadia National Park and cross it off my list. And Bill Dolly happens to overhear, jumps in and tells me that Acadia is only for tourists. The place to go is Cobscook Bay and West Quoddy Head, which sounded like a foreign language to me at the time. So a week of camping on the shores of Maine, climbing steep cliffs, dipping our hands into tidal pools is capped by my children standing on the shores of the Bay of Fundy. You know the Bay of Fundy, where tides rise 15 feet or more in front of you as you watch it constantly coming in and out. As Cal and I stood on the cliffs of West Quoddy Head and looked into a dense fog at what Bill and Bonnie assure us all is the most beautiful beach in the world, I called Bill to express my gratitude, even though we could not see beyond the cliffs. You see my pictures versus his pictures. This place was awesome. In every sense of that word, awesome. And we would not have been there if it weren't for you. So what do we consider? So what do we do as we consider the needs of our children and youth this year? A big problem that I cannot see out of, but for maybe a few weeks ahead. I made a deal with the worship committee when we were texting back and forth that they would help me with these next steps and what I would consider to be an example of the next right thing for us to do. I asked them to get to know our families with children and ask these families, what do you need? I am pleased to say with further gratitude that they did. And since I am not the only parent and my children are not the only children here, I would like to ask these friends to come up here and share what they're thinking about after having these conversations about our families with children, who they are and what they need. So I'm done. Who else would like to come and talk? Yes, ma'am, please come.
This is a 2-minute talk. That's what we were told to stay to. My question today is, who are we as Unitarian Universalists? Who are we as UUCC? And what values do we share? This past week, a woman that I was talking with asked me when I used the term social activist. She looked at me and she said, "What's that?" And I told her it was someone who acted out their faith, who lived their values. And that's what UUC is, what we teach our children. I wonder if how many of you might know that there's a children's version of the principles that we held? Anybody? A few of you might. You know, when these parents that I talked to said, we want our children to be around others that share the values that we hold, I went back and found the children's principles, and there's just 7 and they're fast. We believe each and every person is important. We believe all people should be treated fairly. In our congregations, all people are accepted and we learn together. We believe each person is free to search for what's true and right in life. Everyone deserves a vote about things or a voice for what is concerning them. We believe in working for a peaceful, fair, and free world. And we believe in caring for our planet Earth and every living thing that shares it with us. Here at UUCC, we have such a wonderful community. It's not large, but it's strong and powerful. We have 6 families that have children. 6 families. And we have no teachers right now to teach classes. We're hoping in the future, hopefully not too far off, to hire a person that will be teaching, but right now there's no teachers. So in speaking to the families, we understood what they wanted. And so I'm not going to do an official altar call, but I'm just saying we need to find at least 8 people. 8 people. It could be to a couple, or it could be if you have a friend that you'd like to know better, that you could join as a team. I am hoping that you might be able to volunteer, say one weekend, one Sunday, that you would come and be with the children. And we'll have to see if that's possible. But in speaking with the parents, when we've tried to have the children stay, they worry so much about the noise the kids are making that these parents don't get to really be fully nourished the way we are. And we're just asking each of us to step forward, if we can, and make it possible that the parents can stay here during the service and see it later, you know, it's recorded, and volunteer to be helpers, stepping up and taking a class. My dream of hope is that if I tell a story to Leo, who's just 2, and form a relationship, that when he's 10, he'll say, "Oh, Miss Rebecca, I remember that story you told me." That's the way we hope to nourish our children. So I hope you'll take that step, that you'll put feet to your faith, and that after the service, find Jonathan. I don't know where he'll be, but we've got to work this out to give support to the 6 families. And I hope you'll be a part of that. Thank you. Next, somebody else. They talked. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Linda Brennison. It's a hard act to follow Jonathan and Rebecca, I must say. Jonathan, thank you for your engaging and creative sermon today. But I just want to tell you today that ever since the pandemic, UUCC has experienced difficulty bringing families with young children to our congregation. We know that this is not an uncommon phenomenon in all churches these days. But doesn't UUCC have something to offer families that is unique? We always thought so. Indeed, I believe we still do. As part of preparing for this talk today, I spoke with one of our UUCC mothers. She told me it had been a good year for CYRE, which stands for Children and Youth Religious Exploration. Although I was glad to hear that, I had to think, compared to what? Because certainly we've had years with 100 or more children in a fully staffed CYRE program with enough volunteers, mostly parents, to staff several religious education classes weekly. What we had then that we don't have now was the support of many younger members. Now, in a time when demographics show that the population of younger people is declining, we must rely more on all generations to step up and do the next best thing. As Meg White told me, it's so very important to have a place to go each week to get away from all distractions, slow down, and have the experience of things greater than oneself. And this also allows her kids to be with other like-minded kids that have the same worldview and values that she hopes to model for her own children. With a little help from everyone, we can create a place like this for our children, and the many more we hope will come to us as our program goes. Thank you.
You
have to speak at this one? A lot less than 2 minutes because I know it's late. I have been in this congregation for 40 years. I added that up today. I can't believe that. How could that be when I'm only 25? But anyway, I've been here a long time. I've been through at least 7 directors of religious education. And I'm going to go on the line here. Think about what you experienced growing up. As a child, and especially as a teenager, my main social network was church. If I hadn't had it, I have no idea how I would have turned out. I value the values that we have in this congregation so highly. I don't want to see a future without this congregation. And I'm asking whether or not you do. People like me aren't going to be here in a few years. There's not going to be any future for this congregation if we don't have a growing religious exploration program. And I'm going to go on the line by saying I think we need a director of religious exploration to lead this, and that means financial support for that. So I'm not going to say any more to you except to say, do you want a future for this congregation? It's up to you.
I wrote something as a thank you to those folks, and I'm sure that I'm too messy to actually find it. But she took my pen. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the members of the worship committee who helped me out with that. And thank you to everybody else who's willing to participate in the dialogue that we're going to have the rest of this year about what we can do for our kids and our families with children. So thank you.
For our closing song, Jonathan asked for this song, and I think it's an appropriate one, because it kind of ties to what he did with the children's story when he asked them what they wanted, what they needed. And now this song is about their favorite things. It's from The Sound of Music. If you look at the front of your bulletin, you'll see the picture of the Sound of Music folks talking about exactly that thing. So get out your lyrics that should be in your bulletin, and let's stand, please, while we sing this. Anybody not know this? Raindrops on roses and biscuits and kittens, light coffee candles and bone. The packages wrapped with cream-colored ponies and when the dog bites. Next verse. Girls in white dresses. Wow, that was beautiful.
Closing words. Do I do this? So to close, I want to look at the next right steps towards our congregation's work with and for children and youth. What can you do? If you are not a part of a committee, all you have to do is join one. And once you're there, you can do what others have done to make the lives of our children better for being here and the work of our committee easier. As an example, I point to the Finance Committee in February when CYRE had this idea to raise some money, and it turns out that finance had all these new rules about having a fundraiser, and the members of the finance committee quickly, without even thinking about making rules apply to us, they just took care of us, and they made it possible for us to have this, because kids like to raise money. So we were selling chocolate like in a day, the next day. It was amazing to have folks just willing to do things to make our committee work, our small committee work, easier. I could name a whole bunch of folks who've been very helpful in this, and just thank you all. I wanted to end with one of my favorite cynical poems about raising kids, where the poet Philip Larkin says, they screw you up, your mom and dad. They never mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were screwed up in their turn by men in old-style hats and coats who half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. And the poem ends really poorly, really sarcastically. And so sarcasm sometimes is a foreign language to people. So I'm stopping there, and I will assure you there's really positive stuff in the way that we think about that idea. But instead of ending on that, I picked up this magnet. Louisa, do you have the magnet? She left it up here, that my wife grabbed. Are you sure? Yes, it's right here, from Louisa May Alcott's house. Do you want to read it?
I think the congregation can be seated.
You may sit. This is easy.
Far away, there in the sunshine, are my highest aspirations. I may not reach them, but I can look up and see their beauty, believe in them, and try to follow where they lead.
That's how we wanted to end. That's Louisa May Alcott. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. And for proof, here is the text that was sent at 4:15 on July 5th as we began a conversation about, as he was on the road, about serving. And I'm so glad that you said yes. At this time, we're going to extinguish the chalice. And in doing so, we're going to use it to make sure that the flames gently warm our hearts, and that the light guides us as each of us in this room uses this opportunity to dedicate ourselves to building our CYRE and family services for this congregation. So if you would, thank you, Jonathan, for putting the fires out. I think most of them were almost out because of the timeliness of the service. But if you would, and at this time, Richard, if we all please stand as we join in the congregational benediction. Thank you. May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us till we meet again. Thank you all. We know this was a little longer, but it was the message that needed to be heard and voices that were important. This concludes our services, and I want to thank all of you for being here. But in particular, Duncan, thank you for coming back and bringing Marion and Connor. We appreciate it. Rowena, welcome back. Cam, your kind words warm our hearts all week. And thank you, Courtney, for making it happen. Also to Al, to Robert, as well as to Ethan and Adrian and Jason, thank you for making us a part of your day. So for all of us here, what a better place we could have been. Please join us for some refreshments in the back, but before we do, please be mindful that next week is our annual water communion service. I share that so that it is not next week? No. At the end of the month, as I've been reminded, I think what they asked is that we begin to say it now so that when it happens, you'll be bringing your water. Okay, and that has nothing to do with the people who are streaming online. You too will have your water when we come together. This time, let us hear our postlude. Richard, thank you.
Yeah, the postlude.
And thank you, Jonathan.
You don't have to stay for it. You can, but listen on your way out.
funny. I picked up some of his